Hello and welcome to Geektopia with me, Adam Carruthers, a space on the internet where I can talk to you, my friend, about anything geek-related. TV shows, movies, comic books, video games, absolutely anything. Remember, this is a two-way conversation, so make sure you leave a comment down below. Now today, it's going to be a bit different. It's going to be more of a rant. I'm going to say it straight away. The CW needs to end some of their superhero shows. So as I explain why I think it's gone downhill, let me give you a history of my connection with the CW universe. It goes way back, right to the start, well, almost 10 years ago. And I remember Arrow, they had a teaser trailer come out. And remember, this is straight after the success of the Dark Knight trilogy and the dark, gritty tone that brought. And it seemed they were going to do the same in Arrow. I remember the teaser trailer got me so hyped because you see Oliver Queen, he finds his lair and he goes in, he does some stuff, and he decides to go on his signature move, which would be the pull-up thing. Ding, 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 ding. I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. They would do that in every single season, and it was awesome. And when the show finally came out, you know what? It lived up to the teaser trailer. The first 2 seasons of Arrow were phenomenal must-watch television. It was grounded, there were no superpowers, it was exactly what I wanted in a post-Dark Knight world. I mean, the second season was the strongest season, for me, out of all of Arrow's run, throughout the entire run. And having Manu Bennett in as, say, Wilson or Deathstroke was just wow. I look back on that so fondly. A brilliant portrayal of the antagonist to our hero, Oliver Queen. The third season itself wasn't too bad either. They had Ra's al Ghul, so this is when we started seeing more elements borrowed from Batman. Traditionally, Ra's al Ghul, very much a Batman villain. And I remember the mid-season cliffhanger when it looked like Oliver Queen had died or was on his way to his death, having fought Ra's al Ghul. That was must-watch television. But since then, it's all been kind of downhill for Arrow. Yeah, none of the subsequent seasons could ever hit the highs of what we saw in the first 2 in particular, and a bit of the 3rd season as well. Now, as we know, Arrow has finished its run. It is done and dusted. But Arrow is also where we saw The Flash for the first time. Grant Gustin appeared as Barry Allen. It was a backdoor into getting his own pilot. It was received well, and it was exciting. Just like Arrow, it lived up to the hype. It was different from Arrow. It was very, very different. The tone, the colors, whereas Arrow was dark and gloomy. Flash was vibrant and loud, and they had superpowered heroes. Arrow at this point really didn't have any of that going on. And on top of that, it was fun to watch. It was really, really fun. That first season had a magnificent villain, the strongest. Well, it would be up there with Deathstroke for me as the 2 strongest villains in the whole Arrowverse of all of the shows. Tom Cavanaugh just knocked it out of the park with that one as Eobard Thawne, another speedster from the future. But on top of that, the first season had everything else that you really wanted from a superhero show. The guy discovering his powers, learning to harness his powers, learning to perfect his powers. Him grappling with his secret identity, trying to make sure that those around him do not know that he is secretly the superpowered being called the Flash. Remember in the early days when he would vibrate his face so that Iris wouldn't know who she's talking to? Basically her stepbrother, her future husband. So many twists and turns along the way, and every episode ended in a cliffhanger that just left me wanting more. That for me is always a good sign of strong television, when I cannot wait for the next episode. Now, since The Flash has come about, we've had a whole host of other shows pop up. Black Lightning, Legends of Tomorrow, Stargirl, Superman and Lois, Batwoman, Constantine, which started off as a TV show on another network and was cancelled, where that character and the same actor was incorporated into Legends of Tomorrow. Some shows were put into the pipeline but never took off, like Green Arrow and the Canaries, and Wonder Girl, if I remember correctly, which was recently announced to not be picked up. And we've also got something called Naomi to look forward to, which is a pretty new comic. I'm not sure how connected it's going to be to the other shows, but it is from the DC universe as well. This is a very vast TV universe. It really, really is. It's so expansive. Saying all that though, once again I'm going to stress, I believe that all the shows really have to end. My beloved Flash has become a shadow of its former self. It really has, since all of this happened. since it started. I mean, when Grant Gustin came here with his wife, who's half Malaysian, her mother's Malaysian, if I remember, I was like so excited to think, wow, maybe we might meet Grant Gustin. That'd be brilliant. But now, if you told me that, I'd be like, meh, whatever. The show's just become too repetitive. Like, let me list out a few things we always see in every season of The Flash and tell me if it sounds familiar to you. The big bad for every season will realize that he can't rely on his henchmen, who will probably have powers as well, to do the job, so he steps in. Barry is told that he needs to go faster every single season. Barry will probably lose his powers at some point during the course of the season. Barry will disagree on how to do something with his team. Something bad will happen, and then he will come around and say, yeah, I made a mistake, let's try and fix this. It's always the same thing. A gadget will usually crop up, created by Cisco, and that will also solve the problem within that week or maybe throughout the whole series. The Flash also suffers from something which has become apparent in quite a few shows.
I'm terrible. It's like it's such a guy thing to do. I am a horrible, terrible guy.
No, you're a healthy, single lady.
The tendency to preach at you about some social issues. Now that is very admirable, but it's just a bit much for my liking. It's why I really struggle to finish the latest season of Star Trek Discovery. I mean, it feels sometimes like they're just ramming it down your throat. And I don't know, Superman and Lois has done it well. They've shown Lois, for example, to be this kick-ass, amazing, most intelligent person on the entire show without ramming it down our throats. They're just storyline driven, narrative driven, not message driven, which at times I feel like The Flash and Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow tend to be. It becomes a bit too preachy. People don't like being preached at, you know? We're tuning into this to enjoy ourselves. If I wanted something more serious, something more relevant to the real world, I'd watch the news or TV or the news, yeah, or read the news or something like that. You know what I mean? There's a way to do it, and I just don't think they've approached it properly. Superman and Lois have, just not entirely sold on the original CW shows. The thing is, it then becomes a soap opera. It's less about being a superhero, which is why we're watching a show called The Flash, and it becomes that soap opera feel. It's about personal problems. It's not about solving the criminal mastermind's plan and trying to ruin it. You know, that's why I'm watching a superhero TV show. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh, I'm not sure. But the other thing is, it also leads to cringe-worthy dialogue, and The Flash is getting more and more of it. Supergirl's had it for a while. Legends of Tomorrow as well. Even lines like when Iris said, and this was probably the biggest turning point for me, and it wasn't that long ago, that's how long I've tried to believe in the show for, was when she said,
You are not the Flash, Barry. We are.
I was like, no. Barry is the Flash. Just let him be the Flash. You're not allowing him to be the Flash. At times it feels like it's Iris and friends more than anything else. I don't know, that whole chemistry which we saw in the early seasons of The Flash is just gone. It's become something else, which I don't like. Now, of course, when the show's been running this long, you do want things to develop. I just think they developed it wrongly. They've taken it away from being a superhero show and made it into a soap opera. Okay, now you might be saying to me, oh, but Superman and Lois feels very much more like a soap opera than a superhero show. You're correct in some senses, but for me anyway, I just feel that it's so much better in terms of writing. It's not cringeworthy. It's not like a soap opera. It feels much more raw and better. And they do have great action in the show as well to offset it with great effects. More on that in a bit, actually. And the other thing is, it's very hard to develop a show when you have so many characters because you can't give focus to anybody. Every 3 minutes you're switching to a new character and whatever narrative within the storyline that they have. It's not enough time to invest yourself. It's bang, 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 bang. And then everything revolves back to Iris. Yeah, again, I'll say it. Am I being too harsh? Do let me know. Make sure you leave a comment. So what's next for the Arrowverse, the CWverse, the Flashverse, whatever you want to call it? Well, Arrow is finished. We know that. Supergirl is deep into its final season. I think that's for the best. Not sure there's many more stories to be told there. Legends has been renewed for a 7th season. The Flash is renewed for season 8 to match the tally of seasons Arrow had. But Arrow had a truncated final season. Remember that? Yeah, it was like half the length. Interestingly enough, though, Grant Gustin has not confirmed, at least not publicly confirmed, from anybody, that he's signed on to go beyond season 8. So could this be the final season of The Flash? Maybe. Tom Cavanaugh and Carlos Valdez have left the show during the course of season 7. Huge parts of the show have been there since day 1, let's not forget. The producers did say that they are more than welcome to come back and drop in for cameo appearances. In fact, I saw an interview with Tom Cavanaugh where he said it'd be great to bring back his Eobard Thawne from season 1 for the final season of The Flash, whenever that is, to just, I guess, bring the story full circle. So, not sure where they're going to go beyond season 8, but only time will tell. Batwoman, yeah, that's still going on. That's never really taken off. I don't know many people that have watched Batwoman. The ratings have been absolutely abysmal, and it's a show that's so far managed to survive losing their lead actress after the first season. Superman and Lois has been renewed for season 2 already, and Stargirl season 2 will be dropping at some point this year as well. So that's the current status of the shows. Now, I really believe that Batwoman, with the lack of viewership, with the lack of hype around it, maybe it'll be best to end it after the next season. The Flash, well, you already know my thoughts. Season 8, please let this be the last one. Just try to go out with some grace, with your head held high, some dignity. Same with Legends of Tomorrow. I did find it interesting that when Brandon Routh was let go, along with his wife from Legends, that he publicly said, yeah, he wasn't expecting it. It's not what he wanted. It just sort of happened. Sounds like he wanted to stay on the show. But okay, let's just say that they proceed with making more Flash, more Batwoman, more Legends. How did they go about fixing this? Maybe even for the next season. 1. Cut the seasons shorter. Make them shorter. These original shows are going for over 20 episodes a season. Now, that creates a problem because you have too many filler episodes. There are too many Monster of the Week or Villain of the Week episodes, which doesn't really push along the main narrative, the overarching storyline for the entire season. Really invest in a villain to go a run of, say, 13 episodes, which is how long Stargirl is. Superman was bumped up with an additional 2, so I think they're 15 episodes long. Follow that template. It's what's working across the board for all the superhero shows out there right now. Umbrella Academy, Doom Patrol, Titans, Invincible, The Boys. Now this can also work twofold because yes, the storylines can be tighter and more refined, but also if you have the same budget, instead of spreading it out across 23 episodes, you could condense that down to 13 episodes. You could almost double the budget of every single episode. Now, some of the actors from the Arrowverse have gone on to direct episodes of Superman and Lois, and they've also said, yeah, the show, it's much more of a cinematic feel. And they're right, it does look so much better than what The Flash does right now, or Legends of Tomorrow, or Batwoman. The costumes look better, the effects look so much better. The Flash effects have really tanked. They've hit an all-time low right now. It's just messy and cheap looking. Save the budget. Condense the season. Allocate a higher budget based off that to each episode. You're not going to be adding more. And I really feel that would make a huge difference to the quality of every episode. Shortening the season improves the writing, less filler episodes, and you're able to implement a higher budget per episode. You want proof of this? Watch any episode of The Flash right now and compare it to Superman and Lois. Look at the costume which they released for Impulse. It is so cringe-worthy. I was like, oh my god. Maybe it'll look different on screen, but the picture was, just terrible. They recently released a picture of Batwing for Batwoman. That looks okay, I'll be fair. But the helmet is a bit Optimus Prime-like in my opinion. Yeah, just follow the template. Superman and Lois and Stargirl have already set, and refine your shows that way if you really want to keep all of those shows going into the future. Oh, one final thing that I think has worked for Stargirl and Superman and Lois would be lack of integration to other shows. Yeah, it's great fan service and it has been fantastic. Some of the crossovers have been really cool, but it's a bit of an overkill right now, I feel. Superman and Lois, like I talked about in an earlier episode of Geektopia, my top 6 favorite new superhero shows of 2021, they had a picture of Kara Zor-El, Supergirl, in one of the episodes, allegedly, and they decided not to use it in the final shot. It's like they really aren't distancing themselves from the Arrowverse, the Flashverse, and it serves those shows well. It allows them to just form and develop their own narrative. I know that they've announced there's going to be a crossover of sorts next season for The Flash across 5 episodes, and we're expecting Superman and all that to be in it. I just hope that's not going to ruin what I just said. I hope that the quality is still able to be maintained. Fingers crossed for that. With the glut of superhero content out there, the CWverse is at risk of losing ground and losing any form of being relevant the longer it goes on. Am I being a bit of an ass here? What do you reckon? Or am I correct? Leave a comment below. I will read them, I'll reply you. You can like, share, and subscribe this video as well. This is Adam Carruthers signing out for Geektopia. Until next time.